Hi, my name is Carrie Larson, and today I'll be presenting the Solar Technologies mini case. So question A asks us to briefly describe the M&M theories. So the M&M theories, one involves tax and one involves no tax. The no tax theory suggests that WACC and corporate value are completely irrelevant, meaning that the capital structure of a firm has no impact on the value of the company. And Proposition 1 explains that the market value, once again, is independent of capital structure, and then meaning that the value of a leveraged firm is equal to the value of an unlevered firm. And then Proposition 2 explains that as the debt-equity ratio increases, cost of equity increases. So there's the formula for that as well. So then there's the trade-off theory, the M&M trade-off theory, and that has propositions that include tax, and those will be later used, and you can see the benefits of tax and leverage within the company. Then there's the Miller model, and the Miller model takes into account personal taxation, and you'll later see the effects of that as well. So question B asks us to find the value, equity, and the cost of equity and the WACC for firms U and L. So to do this, I used the irrelevance theory that was previously discussed and those formulas. So then I came up with the totals for firm U being their value equaling $3,571,428.57, and that would be the same as the value for firm L, assuming that irrelevance theory. And the equity for firm U would be the same as its value, since firm U does not take on any debt, and then their cost of equity is 14%, and their overall cost of capital is 14% as well. And then for firm L, their total equity is $2,571,428.57, and their cost of equity is 16.33%, and their WACC is 14%. Just note that because their equity is in the $2 million because they have $1 million worth of debt, and that's what contributes to them having a different equity ratio than firm U. So the second part of this question asks us to graph these capital costs and see how leverage affects them. So because we use the irrelevance theory, adding more debt doesn't do anything to the WACC. The WACC is stable on its own because capital structure is just not even related to leverage. So question C asks us to include tax within the valuations of firms L and U, and so then we use the formulas previously mentioned with the M&M model with tax, and below you can see the results and how overall WACC is affected then by leverage, and this model suggests that as you increase debt, you'll lower your WACC and cost of capital, which is a positive thing, as well as increased value overall. And the reason that you're experiencing benefits from tax is that you are gaining tax benefits from having a leverage in the firm. So question D asks us to use the Miller model and take into account those personal taxation values. So for number 1, we look at the personal tax, and we end up calculating that for every dollar of debt added, the value of the company increases by 25 cents. And then for number 2, when comparing that to just corporate taxes, when you're just using corporate taxes, for every dollar of debt, the value would increase by 40 cents. So therefore, corporate taxes is giving a better benefit to the company in that it's increasing its value more by taking on that leverage. So question E asks us to explain the recommendations that the theories suggest. And so M&M's original theory suggests that the company value is not related to capital structure, so it's not something that you should focus on. But in the M&M theories that include tax, they suggest having more debt is beneficial because of that tax advantage that you will experience, and that will overall increase your value and decrease your WACC, which will be very beneficial to the company. And that's the same that goes with the Miller model as well, in that personal taxation will help with value and WACC as well. So question F asks us to include growth within the calculations along with tax, and this ends up being the same kind of as the tax conclusions, in that the more debt you have, the more tax benefit that you experience, and that can be represented in the tax shield calculation. So as you can see in the graph and calculations, as debt increases, so does the value of the company, and WACC decreases as well. So question G brings up the topic of what if firm L's debt is risky. So to calculate this, we use the values in the problem and use the Black-Scholes model. The Black-Scholes model helps give us the value of the call premium, and then we figure out the overall debt yield. So when doing that, the call premium comes out to $2.2 million, and the debt yield comes out to 10.89%. So question H asks us, what about if the volatilities were to change? Because in question G, it explained that the volatility was 0.6. So looking at a range of volatilities, of course, when you increase debt, it's going to make your company a little bit more volatile because of the default risk that comes along with debt. But overall, managers could use this as a tool to become more attractive to investors, because with more risk comes more return opportunities. So definitely you can see that within the table, and that as debt increases, so does volatility.